My roommate was a sweet person on the outside, but she turned out to be a heartless flirt. Not only did she go after my boyfriend, but she also had the nerve to say she might join my family. She said, "I'll just say it directly. One day you might have to call me mom." She was talking about a middle-aged man she thought was my rich father. He was actually a janitor at our neighborhood's property management office. The expensive suit he wore didn't fit him well because he had found it in a clothing donation box. My family had developed the neighborhood and the property company was ours. But that didn't stop my clever roommate from taking pictures in our model home and writing captions like, "There's nothing like relaxing in your own place." Then there was my ex-boyfriend, Daniel. He was a confusing person. When I said I wanted milk tea, he said it had too much sugar and wasn't healthy, and then he gave me a bottle of water. When I said I wanted steak, he said it was risky to leave campus because of a virus, so he got me a sausage from the dining hall. But when I said, "I'll get you Starbucks," his face lit up. "Sounds great," he said, and he almost skipped. When I offered to take him out for sushi, he practically pulled me there. See what I mean? He was a total contradiction. Daniel was a year older than me, a senior on the school basketball team. He was tall and athletic with great abs. It was hard to look away. Not that I had ever touched them, but I saw them after every game when he would lift his shirt to wipe the sweat. They were right there, a full set of beautiful abs on display. I looked every time. One afternoon, as we walked hand in hand around the track, Daniel asked me, "Want to take a road trip over the long weekend? We could go to the beach," he added, gently tracing his fingers on my palm. I knew what he was getting at: the beach, swim trunks, abs, maybe one of those special nights. But even with the dreams so close, I had to say no. I forced a smile and shook my head. "Maybe next time. I have to work over the break. I need to make some money." Daniel's face froze for a moment. Then he blinked and asked, "Emily, why would you need to work? Is your family having problems? I saw you show up on move-in day in a Rolls Royce." "Cullinan," I said with a dramatic sigh. "That was a rental. You can't sell a rental car, can you? And as for family problems, let's just say I'm starting to think I might not be their real daughter." That hit him hard. He just stood there, looking more shocked than I felt. His expression was priceless. I was, of course, exaggerating for effect. I was about to tug on his sleeve and complain about how my father and brother had left me broke when Daniel suddenly pulled his hand away. He had snapped out of it. His expression changed and his tone was rushed. "Emily, we can talk about this later, okay? I just remembered I have basketball practice. I have to go." And with that, he took off without looking back. I stood there in disbelief. That man changed his expression faster than an actor on a stage. I thought back to the day he told me he liked me. He said he loved my heroic charm. Back then, I thought he meant the way I stood tall and proud during military training. Now I was starting to think he meant the charm of me getting out of a Rolls-Royce Cullinan in designer clothes on the first day of school. Well, what now? The Cullinan wasn't mine. I had borrowed it from my brother. I didn't actually own a Rolls-Royce. I owned a McLaren P1, though it was currently being held by my dad for a $20,000 loan. You see, there's a rule in my family. Once you turn 18, you can't freely spend the family's money anymore. You have to earn your own. It's not just about learning how money works. It's about building real skills and becoming a capable adult. My grandfather calls it training. He says that only those who have struggled can handle the full weight of the Carter family legacy. This rule isn't a law, but it's how my grandfather raised my father and how my father raises us. I truly thought I would be the exception. I was the cherished daughter of loving parents, my grandfather's favorite, and my brother's precious little sister. But on the day I turned 18, all my credit cards were frozen. I was broke. No amount of crying or begging changed anything. Later, out of generosity, my dad offered me $20,000 in exchange for the McLaren he gave me for getting into college. He handed me the cash with a smile. "Collateral loan," he said cheerfully. "Lesson one from Dad." As smart as he was, I had to admit he gave me a good hint. I looked at my limited edition handbags, wondering if selling one might get me enough to buy back my car. But before I could act, my mom took all my new clothes, bags, and makeup. Sweetheart, she said gently, I'll keep these safe for you. Once you earn enough, you can buy them back. Thank goodness for my brother. When I panicked about moving all my bags to campus, he let me borrow his car. Blood is thicker than water. I patted him on the shoulder, touched. There's still good in the world. He smiled like a bad guy. No paperwork, lowest rental price, special family discount. I looked at him shocked. How could I forget he owns a luxury car rental company? Dog, I muttered under my breath. So generous of you. So that's how I ended up where I am now, working hard to get my car and bags back. I followed my father's plan, learning how to handle reports during the week and helping at different Carter family businesses on the weekends. My dad wasn't completely heartless. Over the long weekend, he put me to work as a front desk clerk at one of our hotels. The goal was to improve my communication and problem-solving skills. My salary, the hotel's total daily revenue. If all went well, I would have enough to buy back my McLaren soon. Daniel didn't care about any of this. As I walked back to the dorm with a bag of takeout, I could hear the voices of my roommates through the door. They were talking loudly, not knowing or not caring that their words were clear as day. Oh my gosh, that luxury car was a rental? I can't believe Emily Carter would be so fake. Jessica's voice came right through the thin wooden door. And just like that, I was the subject of their conversation. I always thought her clothes looked pretty plain. I mean, how could someone like her afford a Rolls-Royce anyway? I looked down at what I was wearing. Nothing flashy, that was true, but it was a custom-made piece from a small Italian designer I liked. It was comfortable and unique. I had a good sense of style. Then Jessica's voice rang out again, more animated. Chloe, now that Daniel finally sees Emily for who she really is, you need to make your move. I just feel so sorry for him, Chloe said in a sweet tone. He was completely fooled by her looks. I never thought Emily Carter could be so fake. Was I being accused of some crime? What had I done to deserve this? Hannah, in a quieter voice, added, but I thought Emily's family was well off. I mean, she often eats those expensive French and Japanese meals. Jessica was quick to jump on that. Oh, Hannah, don't be so naive. Daniel comes from a really wealthy family. He's obviously the one paying for those meals. And just look at Emily. She's always running around juggling multiple part-time jobs. If her family were that well off, would she be working like that? She then laughed and added, not like our Chloe. She's the true heir of the Carter Corporation and still manages to be so modest and kind. She and Daniel are clearly meant for each other. I almost laughed out loud. The Carter Corporation? Which Carter Corporation? Was there another Carter family empire I had never heard of? I guess that was possible since Carter is a common last name. Still, looking at Chloe's cheap knockoff clothes, I seriously doubted she was the daughter of any kind of empire. And being constantly busy meant you were poor? The richest people I knew were the busiest of all. Ever heard of ambition girls? As for Daniel being a wealthy heir, what was the basis? Because he buys bottled water? Because he eats sausages from convenience stores? Because of that Ferrari he always talks about but never drives? Or maybe it was the Adidas jacket and Nike sneakers, please. The only expensive thing he wore was that Audemars Piguet watch, and I gave it to him for our 1-month anniversary. I was about to open the door and go in when I saw Chloe covering her face and giggling like a delicate flower. Oh, stop it, she said coyly, her voice as fake as her designer bag. I haven't even said yes to Daniel yet. When I entered the room, the air immediately became thick with awkwardness. I smiled slightly, ready to take apart every ridiculous word they had said. But before I could speak, I saw my desk. My expression froze. The surface was covered with discarded fruit wrappers and peels. The floor was no better, with cherry pits scattered everywhere. I immediately knew what it was. The wrappers and fruit all matched the boxes of fruit I had carried in that morning. You went through my things, I said, my voice turning cold. You sat here gossiping about me behind my back while eating my fruit? Who gave you the right? Even Jessica, who is usually quick with words, looked ashamed. Her voice lost its edge as she mumbled, It was just some fruit. It's not like it was expensive, no need to make a scene. Taking something without asking is stealing, I replied calmly, looking at her steadily. If you're not cheap, Jessica, why don't you buy your own instead of eating mine? Chloe tried to smooth things over. She came up and gently tugged on my sleeve, her voice tinged with guilt. Emily, please don't be upset. We saw you brought back so much and just thought maybe you couldn't finish it all. You thought I couldn't finish it? I laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. So you just decided to help yourselves and leave me with nothing but peels and trash? What kind of logic is that? Yes, I had bought a lot. 2 full boxes of top-grade cherries, a crate of premium kiwis, another of grapes, and another of mangosteens. Dozens of pounds in total. I had wanted to share, honestly. I thought we had a decent relationship. But I never expected every single fruit to be gone, eaten without a single word of thanks or a moment of hesitation. All that was left were the scraps they had left behind. I couldn't believe it. How could 3 people finish all that fruit in just a few hours? Then Chloe stood up with a bright smile and said, Emily, I was the one who told everyone they could have some because, oh, it was your decision. I nodded slowly, pretending to understand while not hiding my sarcasm. Tell me, Chloe, is your face thicker than most people's? Chloe clearly didn't expect me to call her out in front of everyone. Her expression changed several times before she forced herself to keep speaking. Well, Daniel said he bought the fruit for you, so I thought I could share it. There was so much. I thought it would be nice to give everyone some. It wasn't that expensive anyway. Daniel can just buy more. I couldn't take it anymore. I interrupted with a sharp laugh. Chloe, let me make this clear. First of all, those boxes of fruit were bought by me, not by your precious Daniel. If you want to share something he gave you, then, I pointed to a few untouched bananas in the corner. Those bananas over there you can share however you like. Secondly, even if there was more than enough fruit, I am the one who paid for them. You should have asked me before helping yourselves. Finally, the total cost was $2,138. Pay up quickly. Over 2,000? Emily Carter, are you trying to rip us off? Jessica yelled. But Daniel said I could, Chloe mumbled, not daring to argue with me directly. She pulled out her phone with a pitiful expression. I'm going to call Daniel right now. She even turned on the speaker, hoping I would hear him confirm her story. The call connected quickly. Daniel's voice came through, low and clear. Hey, Chloe, what's going on? Daniel, Chloe said in a whimper, sniffing for extra effect. Emily's upset because I ate the fruit you bought. Could you please tell her that you gave me permission? You said it was okay, didn't you? She still seemed convinced that Daniel had paid for everything. Don't cry, Chloe, Daniel replied gently. Yes, I told you it was fine. You can eat whatever you want. Don't be sad. All right, I knew you were the best, Chloe beamed, giving me a smug look. I frowned, disgusted by their lack of shame. I was about to speak when Daniel, maybe forgetting he was still on speaker, blurted something out. His voice was clear enough for everyone in the room to hear. Oh, come on, it was just some bananas. Who knew Emily Carter could be so cheap? Chloe, next time you want anything, just let me know and I'll buy it for you. And the call ended. Chloe's face turned a deep red as she hung up in silence. I must have misunderstood. Sorry, Emily. She mumbled without sincerity. Her tone said one thing, but her raised chin and defiant eyes said another. Save it. Just pay up. 2,138. It was only a few boxes of fruit. There's no way it cost that much, Chloe muttered, still refusing to pay. Oh, really? I batted my eyelashes at her with fake innocence. But you, of all people, should recognize premium fruit, right? A rich heir like you must know the market price for 4 J-grade cherries, surely? Of course I do. I'm not ignorant, Chloe stammered. I rolled my eyes, tired of the back and forth. I pulled out my phone and opened my purchase records, ready to show her the receipt. Just then, a flood of messages popped up in the class group chat. Thanks for the treats, Chloe. Chloe, you are so sweet. The cherries were amazing. Such a generous young lady. Only a real heir would buy fruit this expensive. Well, that explained it. No wonder the fruit disappeared so quickly. Chloe had taken what I bought and used it to seem like a generous, glamorous socialite, using my money to make herself look good. How clever. I didn't hold back. I took a screenshot of the receipt and posted it in the group chat. Wow, Chloe, how generous. Now pay me back. Silence. I followed up with screenshots of our conversations. Chloe, did you transfer the money yet? I haven't seen it come through. You're not planning to pretend this never happened, are you? After a long pause, Chloe finally posted a screenshot of our chat on an online shopping platform. Paid, she wrote, even though she only paid after being publicly embarrassed. The way she gritted her teeth while doing it made the whole thing satisfying. I casually pushed some trash off my desk and swept it toward her side, then leaned back with a smile and started happily eating from my favorite takeout place. Jessica, clearly annoyed, said, "What are you so proud of?" Chloe, don't be upset. She's just petty. You, as the heir of Carter Enterprises, shouldn't lower yourself to her level. Let her have her small victories. Of course, Jessica, being as clueless as ever, didn't notice Chloe's face turn dark the moment she said Carter Enterprises. Now that she mentioned the Carter name, I felt a spark of curiosity. Which Carter Enterprises is Chloe from? I asked innocently. That's funny because my family founded a company called Carter Enterprises too. I was just genuinely curious which major company would dress their so-called heir in cheap knockoffs. Jessica scoffed, enjoying herself. Emily Carter, don't flatter yourself just because you have the same last name. Chloe's family owns the top company in this city. Real estate, retail chains, you name it. Your family is probably running a small shop somewhere. What? I was shocked. If I remembered correctly, this Carter group Jessica was talking about was my family's company. I turned to her sharply. Are you saying Chloe is David Carter's daughter? Before Jessica could respond, Chloe cut in with a scolding tone. Emily Carter, it's very rude to call someone else's elders by their first name. I ignored her and looked directly into her eyes. So, Chloe, are you saying David Carter is your father? You're out of your mind, Emily Carter, Jessica shrieked in Chloe's defense. What's so hard to admit? That's her dad, period. Maybe you should be less paranoid. Please. That man is my father, I said. Even if he once traded my car for a small $20,000, he is still my biological father. Chloe saw the anger in my eyes but stayed calm. She even smiled as she spoke. Why are you so worked up, Emily? Are you jealous? Look, no one chooses where they come from. If you work hard, you can still get to the top. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, glanced at me with fake pity, and added, I know you're upset because of Daniel, but I didn't get with him for your sake. You really shouldn't see me as a threat. What nonsense! My temper flared up. Daniel, to me, he's just a pretty face with abs. Honestly, I already regretted dating him. You better take responsibility for what you say, Chloe, I snapped. Do you have a family photo, an ID, a birth certificate? Care to show your household registration? My registration is back in my hometown, Chloe muttered, caught off guard. She turned her head away. Why do you care anyway? I scoffed. You might be able to fool idiots, but not me. The air grew thick with tension. Then Hannah, trying to ease the awkwardness, said gently, Emily, don't be like that. Chloe has no reason to lie. You can check her social media. She lives in Emerald Court. Her house is huge. Emerald Court? I froze for a moment. That was a luxury complex my family had developed years ago. It had everything, condos, townhouses, and even villas. We lived there too. I quickly pulled out my phone and opened Chloe's social feed. She didn't post often, but in the few posts from the past month, every single one showed off wealth. The latest one was tagged at Emerald Court. In the photo, she posed next to a grand garden, a luxurious home, and some nice interiors. Sure enough, it was Emerald Court. But when I looked closer, I realized something. The location wasn't a private home. It was the sales office and staff dormitories, which had been renovated from model homes as part of the property's marketing. Chloe had taken pictures inside the Carter Group's model suite and captioned it, Nothing feels better than being at home. Interesting. I turned to Chloe and stared silently. A memory hit me. At the start of the semester, I had taken one of my mom's rare luxury lipsticks. When Chloe saw it, she gasped. Oh my gosh, Emily, how can you wear off brand lipsticks? She had pulled out her YSL and lectured me. You have to use a real brand. YSL is great. The truth is, Rodin is not off brand. It's expensive and well known in luxury circles. The fact that Chloe called it off brand told me she had never even been around this kind of makeup. Back then, I had ignored it to save her some embarrassment. Now, it all made sense. Chloe must have felt me staring and snapped. What are you looking at? I crossed my arms and smiled. Just wondering if your shallow knowledge and limited brain power are enough to keep up with the lies you've been telling. That little exchange ended our conversation on a bad note, but I had made up my mind. I was going to find out exactly where Chloe came from. As for Daniel and me, we just stopped speaking. No drama, no explanation, just silence. Naturally, I was single again. Time passed quickly, and the day before a short holiday arrived. Everyone behaved, and there was peace for once. I thought the next time Daniel reached out, it would be to defend Chloe or to get closure. I never expected what actually happened. Emily, has the lease on that Cullinan expired? If not, let me borrow it for a few days. That message popped up just as I had arranged for my brother to deliver the car to me. I was heading out to work at a resort over the break. I stared at my phone, completely confused. The nerve. Where is your Ferrari? I texted back. Everyone at school knew Daniel owned a flashy sports car, but no one had ever seen him drive it. He replied instantly. It went in for maintenance last week, still not ready. Which dealership takes a full week to service a car? I asked. He quickly followed up. No, I mean, the trunk is too small for a road trip. I want to take my mom on a little getaway. An SUV would be better. I had no interest in his excuse. I simply sent him my brother's luxury car rental club contact. Go rent one yourself. Mention my name and you might get a discount. Honestly, I wasn't sure there was any discount, but I did get a commission. Yes, I was working part-time at my brother's club too. Making money made me happy. You can lend it to me for just 2 days, Daniel said without shame. It's not like you need the car. You're busy working part-time anyway. Why should I? I shot back. What are you planning? To make a copy of my car key? The nerve of this man was truly beyond anything I had imagined. Emily, he whined, stop going off topic. Just bring me the car already. I'm waiting for you near Building 11. Why are you even asking about keys? Of course I won't make a copy. It's good you know your place, I replied coolly, then immediately blocked his number. But fate has a sense of humor. At my family's resort hotel, I ran straight into Daniel and Chloe. The two of them were together, whispering sweet nothings with a closeness that made me sick. If not for my professional training, I would have spit on the floor. The funny thing is, I remember Daniel saying he was going on a trip with his mother. So Chloe is his mother? The shock almost made me laugh. They were just as surprised to see me behind the front desk, but that surprise quickly turned into a smug feeling as they saw the hotel staff and guest dynamic. Their sense of pride swelled. What a coincidence, Emily, Daniel said, dressed up and full of arrogance. It is indeed, I replied. Then I looked at Chloe, whose face was thick with makeup. This must be your mother. She looks so young. Chloe blinked, caught off guard, then quickly pouted and clung to Daniel. What is she saying, Daniel? She's being mean. Chloe might not have understood my words, but Daniel did. He couldn't pretend to be dumb. His face stiffened with embarrassment, and he quickly tried to change the subject. Emily, we had a peaceful breakup, didn't we? I didn't even hold you accountable for pretending to be rich and playing with my feelings. I think I've already been more than kind. Don't make a scene. Then he turned dramatically to Chloe, looking like he was in a poorly written soap opera. It was because I fell in love with Chloe. I couldn't help myself. It wasn't her fault. Don't take it out on her. By now, the hotel lobby was filling up. Staff and guests were nearby, pretending to mind their own business while clearly listening in. Whispers and side glances passed between them. Right there in the spotlight, Chloe leaned her head gently on Daniel's chest and added with a soft, winning smile, That's right, Emily, don't misunderstand. Everyone says you're too poor and not good enough for Daniel. They think I'm a better match for him. But I only agreed to be with him after you two broke up. Yes, Daniel added, puffing up with pride. We've only been together a few days. Emily, I know you have always been poor and narrow minded. You've only ever done small jobs and earned pocket change. Your future probably isn't very promising, but as a fellow student, I want to encourage you. Don't give up on yourself. If you work hard, you can still make something of your life. Actors, both of them. I had no words. They were lost in some fantasy role play where they were the noble lovers and I was the bitter, jealous ex. Honestly, I couldn't even bring myself to care. The drama of a fake rich kid and a fake heir wasn't worth my energy. At that moment, the lobby manager leaned in close and whispered in my ear, Miss, should we call security and have them escorted out? Honestly, they both seem mentally unstable. Well, he wasn't wrong. They were standing here calling the daughter of the Carter Corporation poor and hopeless, like they had lost their minds. I furrowed my brows and replied under my breath, Mental instability isn't a crime. We shouldn't discriminate. And besides, since when do we kick out customers who have money? Speaking of money, I immediately returned to my professional smile. I looked at them as I would any regular guest, not wanting to get dragged into unnecessary drama. Welcome, I said with a pleasant tone. Are you here for dining or accommodation? Accommodation, Daniel answered smugly, clearly thinking he had won some invisible battle. I already booked through an online platform. Just check me in. I took his phone to check the order and almost laughed. A deluxe room for 188 yuan with breakfast for two. He must have found some shady online coupon from a third-rate website. And with that, he thought he could check into our five-star resort? For context, our buffet breakfast alone costs more than 188. Mr. Daniel, I think there has been a misunderstanding, I said as I handed back his phone. This is the Orange Bay International Resort. Our most basic standard room starts at 1,888. The 188 voucher you purchased is not valid here. You might want to confirm its origin. Our resort, located between mountains and sea, includes natural hot springs, a private beach, and top-tier entertainment facilities. A true five-star experience. How could anyone think they could pay 188 yuan for all of that, even during the off-season? I continued with a pleasant smile but a firm voice. Hotels of our class don't offer rooms below 1,000 yuan, and now is peak travel season. I paused just long enough for the message to sink in. Given the elite image you both like to project, I would have thought this was common knowledge. And there it was, the truth. That line hit them where it hurt. I could see the panic in both Daniel's and Chloe's faces. Their expressions changed like a flashing billboard, twisting through shock, disbelief, and forced composure. Chloe was the first to react. Her smile froze, and she stiffly stepped out of Daniel's embrace. Though she tried her best to keep her voice calm, it still came out much sharper than before as she snapped, Daniel, what is going on? Didn't you say you already booked a room here? How could a room that cost only 188 cover a five-star hotel stay? Daniel tried to stay calm, but his face had turned red. He was nervous. He fiddled with his phone, swiping the screen a few times before locking it again. No, Chloe, let me explain, he stammered. I misread the reservation. I must have booked the wrong place by accident. But, Chloe, since I already paid for something, maybe we could just stay at the other hotel? It might not be 5 stars, but... What? Chloe's eyes widened in disbelief. Daniel, didn't you promise to take me to the Orange Bay International Hotel for a luxurious vacation? I knew it. You never really cared about me. You were lying this whole time. With that, she grabbed her bag, turned on her heel, and marched toward the exit in high heels that clacked dramatically across the floor. I don't want to see you again. I can't believe you would do this to me. But before she could make it to the door, Daniel rushed after her and grabbed her arm. Chloe, wait! Don't be upset! And so began a whirlwind of drama. Just like the over-the-top romance scenes in old soap operas. After a few tugs and whispers, they made up like nothing had happened. I could hear Daniel whispering with a sheepish smile. How could I be cheap when it comes to you? I'm not short on money, I swear. I just thought it would be a shame to let a group deal go to waste if it expired. What a ridiculous excuse. So, naturally, I stepped in to offer a little helpful suggestion. You can easily request a refund through the booking platform, you know. Daniel turned to glare at me like he wanted to burn holes through my face. No one asked you. Well, that got serious quickly. How touchy. I shrugged and leaned back, ready to enjoy the show. Forget the other hotel, Daniel, Chloe said sweetly. Let's just check in here. People like us with status and class can't afford to be embarrassed in public. As she spoke, she gave a pointed look in my direction. Otherwise, some people might think we're no different than those who can't afford to stay in a place like this. Affordability is not the problem, I said. I'm just worried they might end up skipping out on the bill. After all, every cent they spend today will be credited directly to my account as part of my bonus. I smiled at Chloe and said with genuine warmth, Believe me, I want you to stay here more than anyone. The more luxurious your room, the more money I get. Oh, really? Chloe laughed, covering her mouth. What, does the front desk earn commission now? Absolutely, 100% commission, in fact. In the end, Daniel gave in. He dragged his ID over to my colleague at the counter, his steps reluctant, his face pale with regret. When he heard the front desk staff say, I'm sorry, the Mountain View room at 1,888 is fully booked. We still have the Sea View room at 2,688 available. His expression darkened further, but Chloe seemed to not notice. Her attention was focused on mocking me. Leaning close, she whispered just loud enough for me to hear, Jealous, Emily? Too bad this amazing man is mine now. I did my best to keep my face neutral, but it was hard not to laugh. Oh, I am terribly envious, I said with an exaggerated sigh. But honestly, 2,688 seems beneath you both. Have you considered the 18,888 beachfront villa? It comes with a private hot spring. Just imagine sipping tea in the water, looking out at the ocean. Pure heaven. Of course, if you're on a tight budget, feel free to forget I mentioned it. Some people just can't resist a challenge, especially those who care about appearances. Chloe was one of them, and so was Daniel. The only problem was Daniel didn't have that kind of money. He had already spent a lot renting a car for thousands a day. Booking a regular room here was already a show of bravery that probably maxed out his limits. Even if he peeled off a layer of skin, there wouldn't be enough cash underneath. Still, he was clever, always quick to find a way out. He leaned in and whispered to Chloe, Chloe, most of my funds are tied up in investments right now. It's hard to get all the money so quickly. Maybe you could cover part of it this time. That excuse, I had heard it before, back when we were dating. When we hit our 1-month anniversary, I had even stolen one of my brother's Audemars Piguet watches to give him. It was worth a lot of money. Obviously, he had happily accepted it, but never said a word about getting me anything in return. He just smiled and said, Emily, once I free up my investment money, I'll take you out for a fantastic dinner. What did I end up getting? A sausage, $2 each. The memory hit me all over again as I glanced down at his wrist. Sure enough, he was still wearing the watch I gave him. The nerve. On vacation with his new girlfriend and wearing his ex-girlfriend's gift. And the worst part, he was actually willing to spend money on her. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. So I decided to add a little fuel to the fire. Mr. Daniel, no need to worry, I said cheerfully, raising the credit card machine. We accept bank cards, credit cards, and digital wallets like Klarna or Afterpay. Whichever works best for you. Daniel clenched his jaw. Can you just shut up? Of course, I replied with a pleasant smile. In the end, it was Chloe who gave in. Forget it, Daniel. Don't get worked up over her, she said gently. The regular Sea View room is fine. She always pretended to be understanding and kind, but I had every reason to believe she was just trying to avoid spending her own money. Daniel was ambitious, the kind of man who dreamed of marrying into wealth and getting to the top quickly. Chloe, on the other hand, was vain, constantly using my name to create the life she thought she deserved. They were both hiding their true intentions, but between the two, the fake heir was clearly a step ahead. It seemed Daniel's little plan was going to cost him a lot. There he stood, holding his wallet as if it were his last hope, looking pathetic and defeated. Chloe, in contrast, still carried herself with a sense of winning, her chin high and pride even higher. I decided it was time to add a little more fuel to the fire. Oh, right, Chloe, I said sweetly. Aren't you the heir of the Carter Corporation? You mean to say you actually have to pay to stay at your family's own hotel? I always thought you could just sign the bill. Surely it's not Daniel who has to cover the cost, right? Clearly not ready for this question. Chloe froze for a second before quickly getting her composure back and responding with forced confidence. What nonsense! This place does not belong to my family at all. Emily, stop trying to cause trouble between me and Daniel. She turned to Daniel and clung to his arm, her voice sweet. Daniel, you believe me, don't you? If this hotel were really part of our investments, of course I would know. Emily is just trying to drive a wedge between us. I believe you. I believe you, Daniel muttered, going back to his familiar act of loving affection. But after his earlier financial embarrassment, the performance felt fake. They were still clinging to their fantasy romance while I was just planting a little time bomb beneath it. After handing off my duties at the front desk to a colleague, I headed toward the buffet restaurant to get some dinner. But before I even reached the exit of the lobby, I ran into a cheerful sight. An old man in a floral shirt and matching shorts, full of energy. Emily, he called out. Grandpa, I beamed and hurried over to link my arm through his. What brings you here? I asked warmly. He laughed loudly. Went fishing with some old friends and thought I'd drop by. After all, my precious granddaughter has been so busy making money lately she hardly comes home anymore. Whose fault is that? I teased, giggling. You're the one who made the rule. If you would let me stay home and relax, I wouldn't be working at every business under the sun. He laughed even louder. Sharp-tongued as always. All right, all right. I can't win with you, so I had no choice but to drag my old bones here just to see you. Still chatting and laughing, we walked into the buffet, and who should be there again but Daniel and Chloe. It seemed fate had a cruel sense of humor. Chloe saw my grandfather and immediately jumped to the worst possible conclusion. No way, Emily, she said with a smirk, her voice full of mockery. So this is why you came to work here? Latching on to a sugar daddy? Couldn't find someone younger? I stared at her, shocked by the rudeness of her words. She was a university student, but she spoke with the vulgarity of someone who had long since lost her shame. Maybe when someone is full of filth inside, they see nothing but filth in the world around them. But the worst part was that she brought her disgusting assumptions into my family. Just as I opened my mouth to shut her down, my grandfather spoke first. Young lady, he said in a deep, calm voice, you may say what you want about your food, but watch your words. He wasn't angry, but the authority in his voice filled the space with quiet intensity. I will overlook this because you are young, he continued. But let me give you a piece of advice. Words can bring disaster. If you don't learn that in school, life will teach you, and it will not be kind. Even though my grandfather had stepped down from the head of the Carter Corporation 2 years ago, the sharp edge of a lifetime in business still showed in his tone and presence. His words had weight, and the pressure in the air silenced Chloe instantly. Daniel looked at her strangely and asked, Chloe, you don't know that man? I should, she replied with a nervous smile. Daniel looked at her for a long moment, then shook his head. Never mind. I must have mistaken him for someone else. As for me, I was not so lucky. Grandpa pulled me aside and scolded me from one end of the restaurant to the other. He was furious. He said I had no backbone, that I let people walk all over me, that I brought shame to the Carter family. He even threatened to call my father and brother to come and fix things for me. Only after I promised repeatedly that I could handle my own problems did he let me off the hook. As for Daniel and Chloe, that little time bomb I had planted went off much earlier than expected. In the middle of the night, the front desk called me down. Apparently, the two of them had a huge fight right there in the lobby. I arrived half asleep just in time to hear Daniel screaming, "You really played me on your period and still dragged yourself on a vacation? Don't pretend you didn't know what this trip was about. You claim to be the Carter Corporation heir, but you don't even know the company's founder. You don't even know which hotel your family supposedly owns." Chloe, aren't you embarrassed? Chloe, still playing the innocent act, shouted back, "You're lying about me. You just wanted to sleep with me." You said my money didn't matter, that you loved me for me, but all you wanted was a free ride. Daniel shouted, I spent money on you too, didn't I? You think I'm paying for garbage? You wanted me to treat you like you were the real deal when you're as fake as plastic. At least Emily Carter was honest. She admitted right away that her fancy car was a rental. You're not even on her level. Thanks, Daniel. No need to drag me into your meltdown because, believe me, Chloe and I are nothing alike. Chloe was the first to speak, her voice sharp with accusation. So you still have feelings for Emily Carter? Daniel snapped. Don't you understand plain English? Just give me my money back. In the end, Daniel stormed off, furious. Chloe, on the other hand, returned to the room calmly, settling back into her peaceful vacation as if nothing had happened. Yet, as she passed by me, she gave me a glare full of hatred and hissed, Don't get smug, we are not done yet. I was not the least bit concerned. What she didn't know was that earlier that evening, I had learned something quite interesting from the neighborhood property manager. Something about her other identity. She was the goddaughter, or more accurately, the much younger girlfriend of Mr. Lee, the senior janitor in our residential complex. Mr. Lee was in his 40s, in good shape, and had never married. He was in charge of the entire sanitation crew and took his work seriously, which earned him the title of team leader. He admitted to me directly, yeah, I met her on a dating app. She said she was a college student and didn't want a serious relationship, so I figured maybe I'd treat her like a daughter. But the girl kept trying to get into my bed. What could I do? Mr. Lee tried to make himself seem innocent, but the truth only the two of them really knew. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, the drama was still happening, and on social media, Chloe was posting pictures of peace and luxury. That morning, she posted her location with a string of carefully selected photos. Mountain views, ocean views, the pool, the gym, the private theater, hot springs, sauna, and buffet spreads. The caption read, Sometimes you just have to escape the noise of the city and breathe in some fresh air during the holidays. Her followers filled the comments with admiration. Living the rich girl dream, Chloe. Take more pretty pictures. Orange Bay Resort. I have always wanted to go. Soon enough, someone reposted her story in the class group chat. I'm so jealous of Chloe. She is living the life. Chloe, want to adopt me? I don't eat much. Rich lady, look at me. I would go crazy for you, run into walls for you. Everyone else is really on vacation, and I'm just clinging to my bed like it's my soulmate. I heard the buffet at Orange Bay is amazing. I want to try it so badly. Add me to the list. No foodie can resist that buffet. Too bad I can't afford it this month. Crying. My dream is to soak in a hot spring, eat snacks, and watch the sunset over the ocean. Chloe, never wanting to waste a good spotlight, replied sweetly, Hey, yes, Orange Bay is a little pricey, but it's totally worth it. You should all come visit if you get the chance. Well, with the mood already building, I thought I might as well join in. So, I uploaded over a dozen real photos of the resort and added a friendly message. Everyone is welcome to come on vacation here. Mention my name at check-in to get our special discount. It didn't take long for questions to start. Wait, Emily, what's your connection to Orange Bay? Can you really offer a discount? Chloe jumped in fast, trying to make me look bad. Emily works at the front desk. She can't offer real discounts. And Emily, come on. Taking commission from your classmates? Not cool. Besides, didn't you just get a long-term sugar daddy? Still worried about tips? Her words were vague, but enough to make people curious. Emily works the front desk there? What sugar daddy? What's going on? I need the full story in 2 minutes. Is there tea? Is it hot? Then Jessica joined in, clearly thrilled. Oh, I know. Chloe already told me. Here's the scoop. Emily Carter works at the front desk and seduced an old guy with gray hair. Looks like she's found her shortcut to the top. Ha ha. Chloe, remember what I told you? Loose lips sink ships. The group chat exploded. Shocking. A college student doing this? Shocking. May-December romance right under our noses? Shocking. Just shocking. I rolled my eyes. Chloe, after being called out by Daniel, still dared to claim she was part of the Carter group. Some people just won't learn until they hit rock bottom. I quietly searched for my grandfather's public biography and posted the link in the group chat. Chloe, I wrote, you really claim to be a Carter Group heir but can't even recognize your grandfather? Silence. Complete silence. The group chat went dead quiet for a moment. Only a few seconds had passed, and already the group chat had exploded again. The tide of gossip shifted like a storm, and just like that, the wind had changed direction completely. Wait, what's going on? Are they saying Chloe might not actually be the heir? Someone had even shared a long, dramatic post from an anonymous forum. Look at this. It's from Daniel himself. Every word cuts deep. He's exposing Chloe. This is brutal. Unbelievable. How does Chloe still have the nerve to show her face? Faced with such undeniable facts, Chloe could barely respond. She weakly typed, "Don't believe rumors, don't spread them." A few moments later, she added, "Believe it or not, I really am the goddaughter of the chairman of the Carter Corporation. He loves me dearly." Then, as if desperate to prove her point, she posted a photo. In it was a spacious courtyard filled with luxury cars. My godfather said I could pick whichever car I liked. She followed that with another picture, a room filled with luxury bags and designer clothing that looked like a walk-in closet. There are so many bags and clothes here. My godfather wants to give them all to me. Look, Hermes, Chanel. I'm not lying. Daniel tried to ruin me just because he couldn't get what he wanted, and Emily Carter is jealous. At that point, it was clear Chloe had completely lost herself in the fantasy of being a glamorous rich girl, but what she didn't realize was that the courtyard full of sports cars was my family's courtyard. My matte green McLaren was front and center in the photo. As for the closet full of luxury goods, that was actually the neighborhood's clothing donation center. All the items inside had been thrown away by residents because of minor flaws. I finally spoke up. Why would I be jealous of you? That courtyard in the photo? That is my house. Those cars? Also mine. See the McLaren? That was a gift from my father when I graduated. Chloe, I continued calmly, take a guess. Do you think the Carter in my name just happens to match the Carter in the Carter Corporation? Her reply came fast and scornful. What a joke. You are always working part-time and don't even recognize the YSL logo. How could you be the daughter of the Carter Corporation? Maybe she truly didn't believe it, or maybe she was just clinging to her fantasy for dear life. A few moments later, she snapped, throwing all caution aside. So what if you are his real daughter? How do you know I won't become your stepmother someday? Emily, let's not pretend anymore. Your dad told me he's going to marry me. She followed with a smug laugh. Who knows? One day you might have to call me mom, or maybe even big sis. She had truly lost her mind. No one else in the group chat was typing. Everyone was waiting to see how this drama would end. I typed slowly and calmly. I really don't know what kind of daydream you are having. You mocked me for using Louboutin while you think YSL is top tier. There's no point in arguing further. How about we settle this face-to-face at Jade Garden? Since the drama is ready, why not watch it today? I added. At 2 this afternoon, the Carter Corporation shuttle will pick everyone up at the school gate. Let us all go enjoy the show. And believe it or not, Chloe had actually gotten on our company's bus, completely unaware. Even more shocking, she still acted like she had the upper hand. Emily, she said with a grin, you might be wondering why I dared to come with you to Jade Garden. She laughed and lowered her voice like she was sharing some master plan. Now that you've exposed my relationship with your dad in front of everyone, the situation is too big for him to ignore. Maybe he will feel pressured into giving me a real identity. A delusion. A complete fantasy. She kept calling him my dad, but the truth was, my father didn't even know who she was. I silently hoped that when her dream shattered, she would have enough sense left not to cry in public. At my request, the property management team had set up a banquet hall. By the time we arrived, several buses had already dropped off over 100 people. To my surprise, the guests included my roommates, classmates, and even the student journalist from our campus network, along with Daniel. The student reporter politely asked if she could live stream the event and report on it in real time. I said yes. After all, I was here to expose a fraud. What I didn't expect was that Chloe agreed too. I guessed she believed that the more attention this received, the better her chances were of being recognized by my father. Her logic was astounding. As for my identity as the true daughter of the Carter Corporation, it was not up for debate. Outside the banquet hall, the main display flashed messages like, "Warm welcome to Miss Emily Carter of the Carter Corporation," and "Celebrating the arrival of our heir, Emily Carter." Inside, a huge screen showed a series of slides, one by one proving the photos Chloe had posted in the group chat were fake. Each image was explained and clarified. At the end, the screen showed a family portrait: my parents, my older brother, and me. I pointed to my father in the photo and asked Chloe, "Take a good look. Is this your godfather?" When Chloe arrived earlier, she had been calm and arrogant. She even had the nerve to say to me, "Emily, listen to your mother's advice. If you apologize now, there's still time. Otherwise, if I give your father a son or daughter one day, there might not be a place for you in this family." But now, looking at that family portrait, her face lost all its color. She murmured, "No, this is not possible. This cannot be." Then she turned to me, her eyes wild with anger. "Emily Carter, you are vicious. Just to bring me down, you even faked a family photo. How could you use your own father like that?" I said nothing. I simply smiled and tilted my head toward the property manager, giving him the signal. It was time to bring in the chairman himself. Mr. Lee walked in wearing his janitor uniform. Without greeting anyone, he went straight toward Chloe, his tone sharp and accusing. "What the hell did you say out there? You have ruined me." "Godfather!" Chloe cried out, clutching his sleeve as if holding on to her last hope. Her voice was desperate, almost hysterical. Tell them Emily Carter lied to me. You are the chairman of the Carter Group. You told me you were. Everyone called you chairman." Mr. Lee pulled his arm away, his face red with frustration. "Are you out of your mind? When did I ever say I was the chairman of the Carter Group? My last name is Lee. My full name is Lee Dong. If you keep spreading this nonsense, I will lose my job." "But you always wore those expensive suits," Chloe wailed. "Your photos online show luxury cars and beautiful gardens." Mr. Lee shouted back, "So what? The residents throw away perfectly good clothes all the time. What's wrong with wearing them? I take pride in keeping those gardens spotless. I thought they looked nice, so I took some photos." "That's it." Chloe fell to the floor, tears streaming down her face. Her voice trembled as she accused him. "But you never denied it. Every time I asked, you just smiled. Are you saying you didn't mislead me? You did this on purpose. You tricked me." Mr. Lee gave a crooked smile. "Blame your own stupidity. You believed what you wanted to believe, Sada." He added, "Even I know you can find photos of the real chairman online in 2 seconds. You were just too dumb to look. You kept saying you wanted to marry me. What man would say no to that? Who doesn't want a wife?" "You bastard! I will kill you!" Chloe screamed and threw herself at him, clawing wildly at the man who had destroyed her dream of marrying into wealth. The two of them started fighting, and chaos erupted in the lobby. In the background, Daniel's voice rang out in disgust. "So gross. She slept with him and not me? Disgraceful." I had never seen Chloe as a real threat to me. She was irrelevant, never worth my energy. But she kept pushing, kept challenging me, as if begging for her own downfall. Her disgrace was now complete. The entire school knew what she had done thanks to a campus live stream that caught every moment. The university called in her parents for a formal meeting. Her parents were humble conservative farmers. When they learned their daughter had gotten involved with a man over 40, they were devastated. All they could do was cry. In the end, they gently advised her to accept her fate. "A husband is a husband. What difference does it make who he is?" her father said. As for Mr. Lee, he was immediately fired. A man with no moral character had no place working for the Carter Group. But word spread quickly. Mr. Lee reached out to Chloe's parents and told them he was willing to let things go. He said he wanted to marry her. He would pay any dowry they asked, as long as they agreed to the match. I couldn't help feeling a pang of pity. Chloe had studied hard for years to escape her poor mountain village only to end up like this. But people get what they deserve. If she had stayed focused on her studies and worked honestly, she could have built a meaningful life. Instead, she let herself be blinded by luxury and desire. She thought she was climbing higher when she was actually falling deeper with every step. Still, Chloe had just enough pride left to walk away. She refused her parents' arrangement and left school instead. No one knew where she went. Before disappearing, she sent me a message. I am 21, older than you and the rest of our classmates. Do you know why? Because I dropped out of school twice. The second time, my parents nearly sold me to pay for my brother's tuition. I was ashamed. I was afraid of being poor. The world dazzled me. I tried to keep up, to copy what I saw. I couldn't bear being looked down on anymore. I wanted people to admire me just once, so I did everything I could to get close to the wealthy. I thought, even if I had to sell myself, it should at least be to someone rich, right? But that one big lie cost me everything. Emily, I was always competing with you, even though deep down I knew you never cared about me. Look at you. You worked several jobs. You wore clothes without logos. You didn't even have YSL. You looked poorer than me, but you still acted like you were better. I thought maybe you relied on some man. You were pretty enough, after all. Otherwise, how could someone like you afford a luxury car? But now I understand. Your part-time jobs were training to take over your family's business. Your plain clothes were custom made. That lipstick I mocked you for? It's worth more than all my clothes combined. Emily, I must have looked so ridiculous to you. I replied, being poor is not a reason to fall, and it is never an excuse to talk badly about others. But as soon as I sent it, I found I had already been blocked. The mess had gotten a lot of attention. My parents and brother soon learned about everything, but since I handled it well, they praised me instead of scolding me. My dad gave me back the McLaren without asking for the money. My mom returned all my clothes and accessories, and even gave me the Cartier jewelry I had been wanting for months, along with her rare black Hermès mini Kelly bag. And my brother, not to be outdone, gifted me a sleek new Maybach. Once I was back in style driving across campus in my favorite car, Daniel came crawling back. He said he had been tricked by Chloe, that it was always me he loved. I didn't care to listen. I took back the luxury watch I'd given him, and that was the end of it. My time is valuable. I have no intention of wasting it on people who don't matter. But that didn't stop Daniel. He started showing up everywhere, trying to win me back. His favorite stunt was standing in the rain, shouting his love like a bad romance movie. One time, he caught a cold and had to go to the campus clinic. From there, he sent me a cheesy text from a new number. Guess what? I'm being infused with my love for you drip by drip. It was pathetic. Ever since his scandal with Chloe, he had become the campus joke. Wherever he went, people pointed and whispered, "That's the guy who lost to a janitor." He faded quickly. I stopped seeing him around. Last I heard, he had taken a leave from school to deal with some kind of psychological condition. As for Hannah, she always knew how to read the room. We kept our relationship friendly but distant. Jessica, on the other hand, tried several times to fix things between us, but the truth is, we were never close. We were just roommates, nothing more. She had never mattered to me, not as a threat, not as a friend. Once, trying to get on my good side, she whispered to me that Chloe had ended up working at a club, serving drinks to wealthy men. At one point, she even asked Jessica for money. Jessica refused and cursed her out. She seemed proud, as if standing up to Chloe made her my ally or somehow got revenge for both of us. But I said nothing. We were not the same. Not her and Chloe, not her and me. I still worked several jobs, just like before, like a spinning top always in motion. But now, people no longer look down on me. They admire me. They say if Emily Carter, with all her money, still works this hard, what excuse do I have to be lazy?